Well, guys, as you can see, the Stampede is no longer what it used to be. Some things are missing and some things have been replaced. We're going to continue on with the replacing of things because today I got in the last part I needed. I didn't show all of the build because we know how to put shocks on. We know how to, install the servo. We know how to install an ESC. All of those things, those are simple things to do. If not, I got videos, or I can do a video, request a video if you want to see how to do it. I'll show you how to do it. I got no problem with that. But where we are right now is we're gonna install this guy. This is something that you really want to do. Replace the plastic one with an aluminum one. And I got Street Racing. It says it's for the slash low CG, but that's not the chassis that this is, as you can see. They maybe have been making some mistakes with that. This ain't the low CG chassis. It's an entirely different mount and everything like that. If you got a Rustler or seen a Rustler, it's entirely different. But it's the right thing for in here, because as you can see in here, they pretty much match up. So I'm not gonna go on and on about it. I'm just gonna tune out. I'm just gonna show you this though. There are 4 screws to remove. These 2 here, flip it back over, and you want to take out these 2 here. When I get to that point, I'll show you guys how it comes apart after you take those 2 screws out. Okay, we got all those screws out, and I forgot to mention, you're gonna need this size socket for it. It's 2.5 millimeter hex drive for that. When you get those 2 screws out, it should be fairly straightforward. I've not done this before, but I'm doing it now. As you see, you just shake it apart and it comes right out. And you see this is in here. This is your slipper clutch in here. We're gonna do something interesting with that too. And this nut is important. Keep that to the side. I may not need it with this hot racing setup, but we're gonna find out as we go here. Oh, there's another bolt here, but you got to get the slipper clutch out to get that out. So let's try to get this thing out. Okay, so this is important, guys. It doesn't just pop right out. You got to take this screw out here because, and I'm going to show you why you got to take this cover off. And I'm going to show you guys why. So I'm going to take this thing off. You need a 1.5 hex driver for this part. It's just 2 screws, front and back. I'm gonna take this off anyway to get this axle off. To change the axle, because I plan to change that too. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. Just dump them out. See, that comes right out once you do that. Once you do that, for whatever reason, it won't fall out unless you take that cover off, which is weird. And since the cover's out, now we can take this drive axle out. It should just come off, pull out here. I gotta get a. All right, guys, full transparency. I got that center axle out, found out there was a grub screw holding this end on. And I don't know if you can see in here or not. I hope I can get to my camera angle on it properly. As you can see, you need another part. I didn't know that. Apparently I didn't do my homework well enough. I'm gonna need another one of these in order to complete that build. So I won't be able to finish this part, but I'm gonna do as much of the rear end as I can do, and then I'll order that up and we'll get back to that. I didn't take it all apart. I just went in because I found out about that grub screw, because it really should have just pulled out without no problem. So since it didn't, because I found out about the grub screw, like I said, this little guy right here is holding that axle on in the front. But in the meantime, I might as well install the motor mount slipper clutch housing. Get back to that. Good approach to starting with this first piece, in my opinion. You set this screw here, get you some Loctite. Get some Loctite on the screw. Because you know when you're working with aluminum, you gotta use Loctite. So get you some Loctite on the screw. You don't need a heaping amount, just enough, you know, to say that you got some on there. A drop, a dab, or do you? And you line it up with this. You can start it by hand at first, just so you can kind of hold things together. Once you get it going, you can switch to your hex driver and just tighten it down. It's gonna fit right in. It lines right up. That's why I picked Hot Racing. I could have gotten an aftermarket one, but I wasn't sure about it. So I went with Hot Racing because I know, not Hot Racing, sorry, Street Racing. Hot Racing and Street Racing are good, but Hot Racing a little higher than I wanted to pay. Middle ground, I deal with the middle ground. Street Racing is a good company, and they got a good middle ground. So I tighten that up there like so. After you connect this and Loctite that little screw that was right here, they need that. You're gonna grab your Loctite again. You're gonna put a little Loctite in the motor in, so that motor mount's gotta go in. You drop it down in there like that. It's gonna key into this. Everything keys together, so you really don't have to worry too much. And you drop your screws back in. You don't have to put Loctite on these because they're going in plastic. And you know, plastic acts like a lock nut anyway. Once you hit snug, that's it. You don't have to crank it down and all of that. That's not necessary. You know, we know this, those of us who have been in the hobby. Once it hits that, you're good. You do not want to blow these threads up. Do not strip them, because if you strip them, you gotta buy a whole new chassis just to deal with that. I don't know of any. I guess you could stick super glue in there and then make a new thread that way. You know, that's possible. Put it in. I don't think JB Weld is a good idea. I don't really know what your best move would be. Looked like I really cranked it, but I didn't. Just got tired of turning it with that hand. That's this mount in, and that's ready to go. And your bearing is on the end of the axle. You can pop that right in just like this, and you're all set. But I need this out because I'm gonna be doing something to this. We going mod 1, gang. This is the 38 tooth. Let me break it out so we can read it. It's the mod 1 38 tooth. It's a lot smaller than this gear, substantially smaller. What does that mean? I guess we're gonna find out what that means, because we're about to take this gear off and put this gear on. This is where we going, guys. So I gotta take this whole assembly apart to do that. So I might as well get the right wrench. Here, I got wrenches everywhere now. Let's say hex driver. What I like about Traxxas is they put Loctite on their grub screws and everything, so you don't have to fight with it. You gotta take all this apart because you gotta get that bearing off. So you get this out. I haven't invested in any specialized tool for anything yet, because I got, you know, tools that I bought before these really great driver sets and everything came out. And I just use these. They seem to work. This is a size 8. And you gotta take this lock nut off this axle. So you're gonna be unscrewing this until you run out of threads. And it should slide off. If it gets loose enough, turn it by hand. that off, take that off, take that off, leave everything the way it is. That like that. Leave all of your, you know, just as much to leave as much together as you can leave together. It's my motto. Don't take it out if you don't have to. But we're gonna have to take this part apart because it's holding this. So we gotta get this off. So we'll take those screws out. All Traxxas spur gears for their 4x4 models, I've noticed pretty much are universal. So it's not a big deal to change from 32 pitch to mod 1, as long as you're using this kind of slipper clutch. I should say all of their vehicles that use this type of slipper, you can go mod 1. You just have to decide which gear you're gonna use. I'm hoping 38 ain't too small, because as big as this mod 1 goes that I could find is like 40. And I didn't want to go with the 40, but if I have to, I will, and it'll come up. You don't have to. Shouldn't have to fight it. Then you push the bearing out. That's off. That goes in. Then you work in reverse. So that's this back together. The way I took it apart is how you reverse. Do it in reverse. Give you a good look at it, how it looks. The little black thing that seats the bearing so that it doesn't go back too far. That's where it's supposed to be. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. This thing should be very swift. That's what we hope. Anyway, that's that back together. And then after you do that, you just come here and drop it back in place. It's gonna lock right back in place. It's gonna go like this. This screw is, this is gonna go down in here with this going like this. Everything is still set up. Slide it to fit. Nope. 40. I had to set myself so I could see. I'm sorry you guys couldn't see. I had to check this out. Check this mesh out. Make sure everything's good. It looks like it's gonna be good. It's laying right on there, as tight as it could ever be on there. And it's not hitting the slipper clutch, and it's not hitting the mount or any of that stuff. So that's gonna be the gearing, 17 and 38. We'll see what that does. Anyway, I'm gonna stick this screw in here just to hold stuff together, just so it's not just flopping around everywhere. Yeah, guys, just a little throw in, because she's still in pieces. Still waiting for those parts to come in, but I just went through some, spare parts that I had. I wanted to put a light kit on this thing, so I went and grabbed some lights. These lights are from an extra light kit. They from the Factory 5 hot rod. I went ahead on and drilled me some holes in the front bumper. Threw the bezels in there, hot glued them in place. And then on the back, I got hot glued bezels right there for the rear lights. And yeah, I got my wheelie bar on here with my tires on here. Yeah, rubber tires. I don't like the way that plastic sounds when it scrapes. So I got those too. And I'm just waiting on that last little part to come in, part number 6888X. It's the front drive shaft spindle. As I said earlier, it doesn't come with the bl-2s models. That front drive shaft, it connects straight to the front diff on that axle piece that sticks out. And you don't have this front piece right here. Got my fan. Hobby fan, I'm giving it a chance. Hopefully this will be nice. I like these types of heat sinks that are open You know what I mean? And pull this off for a second. That are open, you know, because that lets the air flow directly onto the motor. You know, it's not just sitting directly, you know, and the heat sink is blocking the air that could be going to the motor and cooling the motor directly. So I like this. Hopefully this won't be popping off when I have big impacts. Seems a little loose to me. Okay, moving right along with this build. This is the part that was needed. Really glad that it showed up. So we're gonna continue on with this build now. And as you remember, grab my light so I can, just a quick reminder, we needed to get in here. And with the wheel on, you're never gonna be able to see it. So let me just take the wheel off. Hold on. As I was saying, we gotta get right in here on this little part right there. And got the light on it good so you guys can really see it. Yeah, with the little hole there. Yeah, that's where that 688X needs to go. So what we're doing is we're going in from the bottom here. And we stick it in there, and then we're gonna see if we can fish it into the hole from the side here. If we can do that, and it looks like it worked. Like we caught it on the first shot. That's a good deal. Yeah. Just so you can see, throw a little more light on it. You see, I went in from the bottom here, and I just came in from the side and shoved it in there, and now I'm screwing it down. Screwing it down. So now that that's in, the shaft should be no problem. I dumped my motor out doing that. I'll just pull this off because I got the fan wired in and everything. So now with the vehicle flipped over, drop the axle in here and key it on. You'll know it's keyed on because you see that moving. So that's keyed in like that. Now obviously we go with this part, key that in like so. And now you know everything's keyed together. All right, so that's together. And before I put the wheel and all that other stuff back, I'm gonna just go ahead on and reassemble the rear. So we're gonna flip her back over. Should be fine, just like that. Flip it on back over. Because we wanna make sure that we put everything in, you know, properly, so that it sits together. I've left this upside down for that reason, because you need that lip to slide underneath. Oh, and you have to key in this too. So we're gonna have to kind of turn this. I think I gotta turn it back over just for this part to key this into here, because you won't find it without doing that. Well, it kind of popped its way in, but it's not under this, so you want to get under here. You need to be under here. Yeah, I have to take it back apart. So I'll make sure. Okay, I might have still been in spot because of the, yeah, because of the way I had it. Okay. Okay, so that's that back together. So now we're gonna get the wheel back on, and I'll get back with you guys in a second. Well guys, as you can see, I didn't come right back after I put the wheel on. I actually had a little discrepancy. I lost the hex nut for the wheel. So in my search for that, I wound up going ahead and putting other things together. So it's completely together. I mean, this stuff was pretty much self-explanatory. All I did was put the case, cover for the gears back on here. I did opt out of that 38 gear spur, the 38-tooth spur gear. I went on and went with the 40-tooth because I felt like that's just way too much for this, for what I'm doing. Still stay with the 17-tooth pinion. We're gonna see what happens. I might drop that to 16-tooth. I don't know. And as you see, I made a plate. I might have talked about this, the plate for my mount and everything, for my ESC. But I went on and put it together. Tires are back on. Everything's back on, as you can see by the Traxxas symbol. And you can hear that click. She's rolling. She's rolling, you guys. We're gonna get some batteries on the charger. See it when it's fully complete. I am gonna throw the body on though real quick, just so I can see my finished work here. See if I can put this body on with one hand. I don't see myself really getting that to happen, but I'm gonna go for it. Okay. Apparently I'm getting a little more used to it, guys. There she is, complete. Green, black with splashes of blue. In hindsight, I feel like I should have just went ahead on and bought the blue one, but I like the green, man. What can I tell you? Y'all know there's a pattern here. There's a pattern here. Look around. There's a pattern here. There are other colors, but given a choice, I'm going with, you can't even really tell that. Well, never mind. It's really not much of a pattern. I told myself there was a pattern. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. Don't forget to share and help each other out. That's what we're doing. We're trying to make the hobby better for each other. So that we can all enjoy it and get the best bang for our buck. So this is my Stampede converted to the Hoss with a few little extra touches. Oh, I didn't show you. I got my linkages on here. Let me take the body back off. I got my linkages on here. I took the plastic links that were on here off. Yeah, so I put the metal links. They factory Traxxas links. If I have a problem with them, it don't seem like I am though, because you see me crash my Rustler. It has factory Traxxas links on it. I can crash that thing more times than I can count. I've had no problems. So I really don't expect any problems with these. But if I do, RPM got my back, depending on how they break. Anyway, once again, this is TKS Hobby saying be safe, be blessed. Remember my motto, if you ain't crashing, you ain't bashing. TKS Hobby signing out.